Welcome to Meet the Expert.
Bite size.
Lesson was not to pay attention to very specific lesions. So it means that we have cases where we found very unspecific lesions, or in other words, we were missing these very specific lesions, like bleeding in bladder, enlarged spleen. We had spleen without lesions. We have bladder without bleedings. We have a kidneys which were looking totally normal. So it means you have to be careful, and we do not see the same, let's call it, lesion set in every animal. So you have to keep your eyes really open. What I would say, what was a very common, and this is, I think, confirmed also by some experimental observations, also, we see frequently hemorrhagic findings in skin, in subcutaneous tissue, very frequently in lymph nodes, of course, spleen. Spleen could be very, very hemorrhagic, so very, very enlarged, but also heart, pericardium, myocardium, kidneys, frequently bladder, but again, could be also without any lesions. But I would say the lymph nodes are a very, very important element for making post-mortem diagnosis. They are almost always enlarged, hyperemic, dark red. Sometimes they look like a blood clots. The consistency is totally different as a normal lymph nodes. Sometimes we see the signs of necrosis. I would say also epiglottis. If you go to epiglottis, you will find a lot of bleeding. Basically, also larynx is almost always hyperemic. As I already mentioned, heart, you will see pericardial bleeding, you will see bleeding in endocardium and myocardium. So also look at this organ. Lungs, I would say, a little bit difficult because you might find, of course, a lot of other lesions which are related to the previous respiratory infections. They might be related to African swine fever, but usually in the lungs we might see a totally different region. So
from a co-infection.
Yeah. The previous co-infection or ongoing. I mean, you might have ASF outbreak on the farm which is suffering from respiratory complex. Yeah. So making a necropsy of the pig which was euthanized or died due to African swine fever, you will find, of course, these lesions as well. Intestinal sections, we see basically in all sections of intestinum bleedings from the intestinal wall. Frequently, the intestinal contents had a lot of blood. Kidneys, different picture, a lot of bleeding, subcapsular, parenchymal. So, but to summarize, I would say, of course, lymph nodes, hemorrhagic enlarged spleen. So we are talking about splenomegaly, dark red petechias. Gallbladder could be also frequently enlarged with edematous wall, with bile mixed with blood. So this could be a kind of most common findings. And of course, this skin and subcutaneous lesions in kind of different type of hemorrhages.